Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Snakes on the Plains. My name is Mackenzie and today I'm answering a question that I received a couple months ago from Paige Haddock. She asked, how do you know or how do you go about buying a ball python from someone that you know will be healthy and from someone reliable, and those sorts of things. So today I'm going to try and answer that question. Alright, so as you guys can see, I am on morphmarket.com. Basically, this is an incredible website and an incredible tool that you can go to see what snakes are out there on the market right now, who's selling them, for what price, and even like what some really cool combos you want to see. So let's just say that I'll go over in a different video how to use it as more of a tool to see those combos. In this video, we'll just talk about or have like a situation where you are trying to buy a snake. So let's say today you're trying to buy a leopard ball python. So we'll just type in leopard right there. You can see right here it pops up, and then you can see all these different leopard combos. So let's say, oh crap, well, I don't really want something that's going to be like $1,500. So we're going to go to, you can do least expensive, most expensive. Personally, I prefer this. If you're just looking for a single gene, you can just go least genes and you can see them from least to greatest genes usually. I mean, of course, if you're seeing something that's least, like has less genes, and let's just say, let's find one, this het clown down here at $150, it's going to be less money for a single gene one. This leopard ball python right here is $150, but that's from Constriction Addiction, and they're sort of a more well-known supplier, I guess you could say, and that's probably why it's a little bit more expensive, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's just say we're looking through here, and what you're going to try to do is figure out what examples you like the best. By examples, I mean, do you like how this leopard looks compared to this leopard? Or this is an entry leopard, so I guess it's not the best example, but like this leopard looks compared to this leopard. Or maybe you like this one because it has more of a dorsal stripe on it than this one, which only has a small dorsal stripe on the tail and broken up along the back. Maybe you like that. Maybe you like how it's more of a funky looking pattern. But again, this one is a het, so you might want to think, oh, maybe that het pied is messing with the pattern a little bit, just like how het clown has been known to mess with the colors and can make a snake more bright. It will be more expensive most likely because of that. Since it's not, that's another red flag. I'm not saying that this person right here is a bad person at all. I have no idea. I'm just saying for me that would be something that's like, oh, I wonder why it's so cheap. Maybe they're trying to get rid of all their animals, and maybe they need more room for hatchlings because the season for hatchlings is almost upon us. Or maybe it could just be as simple as they are just trying to get rid of this individual because they have multiples of it. But you always want to kind of delve into things to make sure there's nothing, like, quotes, sinister going on. Usually there's not, but you'd rather be safe than sorry. But yes, what you're really trying to look for, or what I do, I guess, at the beginning, is I really try to look for snakes that have a specific look to them that I like. So I'd be going maybe in between this one, the one from Mark, and this one down here, and just thinking, okay, what do I like about these snakes? What do I don't like about these snakes? What do I like about this one? What don't I like about this one? Just kind of see what exactly pattern-wise and mutation-wise what you favor. Because when you go to actually buy that animal, chances are you can produce offspring that look like the parent. They're not going to be exact carbon copies, but if you have a mother and a father that have the genes or that have the look that you're going for, you can eventually create, by continuing to keep and hold back those snakes that have, maybe, let's just say how this one kind of has almost like a double pattern going on here, like a split pattern, that has this like split pattern going on with this this individual leopard here. And you can eventually possibly create a line that almost always has this sort of split pattern, or one that almost always has this dorsal stripe going on with it. And if that's what you want, then you should do that. You should breed for what is called quality, or you should keep for what is called quality. If you're just trying to get a pet snake, Sorry that I'm kind of going on about this, but we'll definitely get to how to purchase a snake safely and from someone that you can actually rely on. But yes, that's what I would do. That's how I go about things, especially with recessives. You want to ask, hey, can I see a picture of the parents? Because you want to make sure that those animals are coming from something that actually looks like a good example of what you want. Because if it's a desert ghost, let's just say, and it's just super brown, almost looks like a normal, but it's just a little bit brighter, for me, I wouldn't invest in that animal's offspring because that individual doesn't really look that nice. Now, it's not saying that its offspring won't produce nice looking desert ghosts, but for me, I'd rather take the chance of buying from an individual that looks great, because for me, I feel like I have more of a guarantee that way. There is no guarantee with genes, but I feel better doing that, and so I'd rather use my money that way. So let's just say as we're going through all these awesome animals, we see one that we really like from Breeders Circle. And so you think to yourself, well, let me just go check out their individuals. So what you're going to do is you just hit this little filter button. You keep the leopard up here. I usually just see what all of them look like, but you can change it to sex, age, whatnot. But we're just kind of, or I am just kind of looking at individuals at this point, not really looking to buy quite yet. Then I'm going to go to store. I'm going to scroll down to Breeders Circle, and I'm going to hit go. Now, if you're using Morph Market for the very first time, what you're going to have to do is like sign in with Facebook. I've never had it give me or post anything on Facebook or be weird, so I think this is a pretty good oh my gosh, website. There's the word. So I don't think you have to worry about like it trying to hack into your system or anything like that. So what we have right here is what they have available. And so if you're not really looking to buy yet, what I also suggest doing would be going back to filters and then going down here to say for sale and go to all. This will show you all of the leopards that they have ever sold. So you get a really good idea of what their leopards look like. Again, we're searching by least genes, so you should have just standard leopards all the way up to whatever their most genes are on the next page. And so as I'm going through this, I'm like, yeah, you know, these look really nice. I really like how this pattern is influenced by these other genes. It's beautiful, and I'm just, you know, like maybe super impressed and thinking, yeah, I want to buy a leopard from Breeders Circle. These are definitely the people I want to go through. So what you can then do is just go back up to filters and then go over, to back to for sale, and this will show you what they have for sale on their Morph Market area. Now, maybe at this point, this is where you want to go least expensive to most expensive. You want to look at each one of these animals. You know, you might not want to get a Batman that's over $8,000, but maybe instead you just rather go for a leopard yellow belly. Absolutely beautiful animal right there. But you still should do some research on the actual breeder, which is Breeders Circle in this case. So over here on Facebook, what we're going to do is we're just going to search them and hope that they have, oh look, they have, surprise, a page. So you just check out their page right here. We're going to go in and see what it's like. Looks good. Looks like there's a lot of people that have liked it. And if we go down, sometimes you can see reviews and whatnot, but if you come across a page like this that doesn't have any reviews on it or anything, so then what you can do is go to a page called the FBI, which is the Feedback and Inquiries for Reptiles. You go right here to this little search bar, and hopefully this hasn't changed this much since 2017, but there should be a search bar still somewhere. Even on your phone there should be one. So you just type in Breeders Circle, and what we have then is all of these posts or comments or anything that pertain to Breeders Circle and that have their name listed in them. So right here we have it saying that, let's see, this is a longer one. Absolutely fantastic. Answered all my questions, sent weight info. So it's really nice to see someone who's going to go over what you ask, and actually just like do what you're asking for. That's very, very, very nice. And I've never had an issue with Breeders' Circle myself. That's why I'm covering them, because I want to do a good guy review. Let's see, very happy with transaction. Kept informed on delayed shipping, which again is some sort of like almost insurance, knowing that these people will tell you, hey, there was an issue, we're going to address it, just letting you know. That's fantastic. Received from Jonathan, just perfect and healthy. Received from Jonathan, just looks like everything is good. Good guy posts. I'm not seeing any bad guy posts. And if there are bad guy posts, just make sure to click on them and read them, because a lot of times Breeders' Circle will, or not Breeders' Circle, sorry, excuse me. A lot of times the person, in this case Breeders' Circle, but the person who they were buying from, maybe will reply back and let everybody know, hey, yeah, I got this information from this person. The whatever worst case scenario, let's just say the snake was dead on arrival. They contacted me. I corrected it with them. I gave them their money back, and or told them I'd send them a different snake that was of equal or lesser value. But instead, that person just lashed out before any of that could take place, and that's not really the breeder's fault at that point. So you do have to kind of look at both sides and say, okay, was this the breeder's fault, or was this the individual who it was sent to maybe overreacting, or was it actually an issue that just didn't get resolved? Because there are issues like that, and if you join this page, you'll definitely see that. But I think joining a page like this is very good, because it gives you sort of like experience in a way of seeing what people go through in bad and good situations, and that even though there is a bad situation, there can be very good things that come of it. So that is what I would recommend you guys doing, is definitely join a page like this, or this page, and just keep your eye out. Now, something else I'd like to address is Breeders' Circle is a larger breeder, and I'm not saying that you have to buy from a larger breeder. It does give you some sort of security in a way, but just know that sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, I don't know how these people run their business, but sometimes the bigger breeders don't have time to look at each one of their animals as well as smaller breeders do. Smaller breeders can put more time and effort into handling and into checking and into making sure that everything's perfect for their individuals, instead of a bigger breeder that might not have the time. So there are pros and cons to each one. The cons to a smaller breeder would be there hasn't been a lot of people buying from them, and that way you don't always know if what you're going to be purchasing is going to be top notch, or is going to be, I guess you could say, have that feeling of insurance and knowing that it will be okay when you buy from them. Now, you can definitely sort of get that feeling, like if someone were to buy from me and I'm a smaller breeder right now, I would try to make them feel as comfortable as possible. If they ask me for pictures, I'd send them pictures of whatever. If they'd ask me to take an update on weight, I'd do that, without hesitation. Just going over and beyond, which that's not really even over and beyond, but going over and beyond for customers should hopefully make them feel more secure in buying from you. And so if you guys are trying to buy from a smaller breeder, ask questions, be diligent, maybe, ask how, more specific questions like how it acts, where it came from, what its parents look like, if you can see pictures of that. And I'm not telling you to waste people's time. Definitely only ask questions of what you're like legit curious about, but just see if they will actually go and spend time to make sure that you feel safe in buying from them. Because if they really don't, it can be sort of like a scammer. Maybe it could be a flipper that isn't a good kind of flipper. A lot of times if you ask for photos of the parents and it is a scammer, that will sort of draw them out right away, because a lot of scammers don't even know snake genetics. They just try to sell a not even real snake to somebody just by using a photo from somebody else. So those people definitely do exist. Those situations definitely do exist, but they can be sort of rectified, and they can definitely be avoided by just being careful. So after I've looked at their Facebook and gone to this Facebook page and made sure that I feel confident and other people have bought from them, or maybe I talk to them and I feel confident that way, what I would do then is go to their website. And so right here I've already looked at all of the products that they have tagged leopard that are available. And what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that there's not any extra or any less snakes, I guess mostly extra, than what would be on Morph Market. A lot of breeders do not update their website very well, and that happens. So if you check their Facebook page and their website page and their Morph Market page, chances are you will see all the snakes that they have available. Once you contact them, it might be smart to say, hey, I saw that you had this, 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 and this of a leopard. I was just curious, are you going to have any more soon, or do you have any more individuals now? Because they could have, let's just say you're looking for a leopard, het, clown, het, desert ghost, and they don't have that right now for sale, but they could possibly be having a clutch of that soon. They could actually have one that's hatched, but it hasn't eaten yet. And so then they could, you could pay a deposit down on it, and it could be yours once it's eaten enough, things like that. So definitely just contact them and see what their plan is and what they have going on. And again, if they respond to you in a quick manner, in a very, polite manner, usually that just shows that they are willing to sort of be good guys, and they're willing to go over and beyond what they need to do for you, which isn't usually what scammers or quotes bad guys will do. Yes, they'll try to like butter you up and whatnot, but they really can't produce the sort of proof that you're looking for when you ask for it, like photos and updated weights and feeding charts and whatnot. Those are the things that are harder to fabricate. So once you guys have done that, what you could just do then is decide which one of these animals you want. Let's just say that you want the cheapest one right here. He's, in my opinion, the most beautiful one. I know everybody loves the Batmans, but I do like this leopard yellow belly's color a little better than this Batman's color. And so what you do then, obviously, just send them a Facebook message, say, hey, I'm interested in this individual, and see what they say. I'm sure that they'll just be completely stoked and overjoyed that you want to buy this guy, and then you guys would just work out payment and work out shipping. Now, shipping doesn't always turn out the way that you want it to. In that matter, I mean that it can't always just be here like ASAP. We're actually waiting on 2 individuals from Breeders Circle right now because Nebraska is a bitch, and she is cold as all heck. And so obviously it's very, very good to see that they aren't just trying to ship these guys right off the bat, just say, oh, we need to get rid of them, we're just going to ship them, don't really care that it's under freezing right now, we're just going to get them out there and get them to you. That's very nice to see that they're willing to keep them, feed them, and house them until it's time and warm enough for them to actually ship them to us. So that is, again, another thing that I look for, and another thing that I'm very happy about. So ask about shipping, ask about all the details before paying. So if they're trying to pay through PayPal, if they want this $350 through PayPal, and let's just say that you don't feel 100% confident, something feels a little off, but you're not willing to continue looking, or this is like your dream snake, and you're just gonna, quotes, take the chance. Yes, that's a little foolish, but I can sort of understand where you're coming from. What I would do is pay through PayPal, and do not pay like the friends and family way. There's different, I'm not really sure what to say, like ways or avenues to pay, and one of them is a business avenue, and it charges, or it takes off $35 that the business was going to get paid. I hope that made sense. So basically it costs the business $35 when you pay through that route. A lot of times breeders really don't like that. In my opinion, if someone doesn't feel confident enough to hit that friends and family button, you're doing something wrong. And if they say, you know, hey, if you pay me this way, I'm not selling you the snake. Well, then, no skin off your back. Just say, okay, sorry, and then just keep moving on. Because what happens is when you pay that way, you can get your money back if you file a suit through PayPal saying, hey, this is what I was being sold, but instead I received this and it wasn't the right thing, or hey, I never even received my package. And you can work with PayPal to get your money back. If you do friends and family, you can't. You send them the money, that's it, it's theirs forever. That does sound a little scary. I've never had an issue with it so far. And a way to kind of get around that is, again, some people will be really frustrated when you do that, but you can say, hey, once I receive the animal and it is what I want and it's not sick and everything's all good, I will pay you back that $35 through friends and family, and we'll be even then. And if you say that, a lot of times I've noticed that people will just be like, all right, if you do that, we'll be cool. Just make sure you do that then, because just like we have this this FBI page right here, you can search actual people's names in here, and breeders and that are trying to sell to people will sometimes do that. So if they were looking up me, they'd type in my name right here, and if they see something like offered to do this and actually never did, you know, and like maybe 4 or 5 other people said that, it makes me look really sketchy, and it makes me look like someone who they might not want to sell to, and they have the right not to not do that. They have the right not to sell to me. And so just definitely follow through with whatever you say, because you don't want to be one of those people that they then kind of are just like, hey, just so everybody knows, this person isn't really telling the truth about everything, and they told me that they'd do this and they ended up not doing it, you know. So just let everybody know. So it is a very tight-knit community. It is a very good community to be a part of, because they don't let crap, quotes, like stuff like that go through and just like continue happening behind other people's back. It's always brought out into the light, almost always. So that is the way that I would take care of payment. Again, make sure that you have all the information before paying them, and definitely do the friends and family if you feel 100% confident. I think we've done that every time so far. Just because when I've mentioned that we were going to do the business way, they found some way, or they told me some things, or they sort of calmed my my fears or my insecurities that I had. So yes, communication's a big part of it, because unfortunately there are some baddies out there. So this is all about, obviously, shipping. If, let's just say, you go to Craigslist, you find an awesome snake, you say, hey, look, there's a clown, I want to buy that clown ball python. So what do? It's local. You can meet up with the person, and you message them, and they say, yeah, you know, give me $200, meet me at this location, and I'll sell you the snake. One, if it's over Craigslist, definitely don't send your payment through PayPal until you actually see that animal if you're meeting up. I would also have a friend with you, you know, meet up someplace that's openly public. Like when I picked up our clown, I met him at a McDonald's of all places. We exchanged, you know, like money and snake at that point. I looked at the snake first before giving him the money, make sure it didn't have mites, make sure it didn't have an RI, make sure it was a male, make sure, you know, everything he was telling me was correct. And of course he didn't take offense to that. He was used to that. He knew that, you know, that's the way that this goes. When you do have the chance to look over the animal, like at an expo or anything like that, do that before you decide to pay for it. You want to make sure that everything's good and healthy with it. And sometimes it's not, and that's where you really can run into trouble. If it's not, they might get upset, but all you do then is it's not worth it. Trust me, it is not worth it. Just tell them, sorry, thanks for meeting up with me, I'm not interested. I think your snake has, you know, XY, or, you know, I wasn't prepared to, or I'm not prepared to treat mites. And people might get a little upset with that, but they didn't tell you that. Maybe they didn't even know it, and that's even more troubling. And so if they do sort of slam you on Facebook or something, then all you have to do is defend yourself, and people will definitely come to your side and your aid of things. So don't worry, you know, stand up for yourself, stand up for what you think is right, because getting a snake that's sick or that is infected with something is just, it's a lot of work. People think, oh, I can do that. You know, hey, look, this guy's selling a snake with an RI for $75 and retail is $300. Well, by the time you bring it to the vet, it gets its round of antibiotics for 2 weeks. You have to keep it quarantined. It doesn't eat. It causes you a big headache. It's stressful. Things on almost on its deathbed. Then it finally, maybe, hopefully, it finally bounces back. Maybe even needs another round of antibiotics. You spent over that, especially in time, not just money. So just don't buy an animal that's sick. It's sad to say that. I know it's probably really terrible, you guys think, for me to say that. But unless you're 110% confident that you can fix that situation, all you're going to do is bring that animal to a different place to be sick and to possibly die and most likely infect your other animals. And if you do end up having a bad transaction over shipping or something, just talk to the breeder before saying anything. Say, hey, you know, I think this animal has, let's just say, again, an RI. What they should do is offer to pay for the vet bills, offer to take it back from you and pay you back, you know, something along those lines, and maybe send it back to you once it's well. And if they don't do that, that's when I would, again, visit that FBI page and post what you did. I would visit that FBI page every single time that I buy something. I go and I say, hey, this is what happened, and this is my experience, and I recommend or don't recommend. That way, even if you maybe had an experience that you really don't want to like leave a review for on their page because it was this kind of a meh experience, just say that on the FBI page. Say what was kind of meh about it, say what was kind of good about it. That way we all can kind of keep tabs on everybody, and that person obviously then sees that because they get tagged in it, and they can correct that or argue that. And it's nothing to be afraid about. I hate conflict. I try to stay away from it as much as possible. But if I had an issue with something, I would want other people to know, and I'd want that person to know. And if they're going to come at me, then it really just shows what kind of person they were. And again, that's never happened, even when I did have an issue. It just comes like, hey, this is what happened. It was corrected. Thanks, amazing animal. And I was like, yeah, sorry about that. It's like, yeah, no problem. You know, as long as they're being they're being a good person, I guess, and just trying to correct what happened, then I don't really think that there's any issue at all. And another thing you want to make sure of when you get your snake is to look at what their guarantees are. If they guarantee just the sex of the ball python, if they guarantee the genetics and the sex, if they guarantee the genetics, sex, and health, those are different things to keep in mind, because if they send you a snake and they didn't guarantee the health and it has an RI, they shouldn't be really selling that snake, in my opinion. I think that everybody should guarantee health. It's still an issue, but they could kind of not hold that against you, but say, you know, hold themselves above water and keep their head above water that way by saying, well, I didn't guarantee health and you still bought it. So just make sure that they have those sort of things, that they have a live arrival guarantee. That is insanely important to pay attention to. My alive arrival guarantee at this moment is you have to send me a picture of the snake if it's dead, which is very unlikely when it arrives, within an hour of the package actually being delivered. Because otherwise, I have no idea, if you just left that animal outside in 90-degree weather for 2 hours, of course it's going to cook. It's going to, that's very sad, but you have, you know, that the person I'm sending it to has to be responsible and has to go out and get the animal and bring it inside and make sure it's okay. Because how am I supposed to know, did it die after being outside for 3 hours in 90-degree weather, or was it dead when it arrived? I don't know that. And so due to their negligence or due to something actually happening on the way there. And so that's why I say an hour. Maybe someone else, let's just say Breeder Circle, I have no idea what theirs is at this moment. Let's just say that theirs is 2 hours. And so then make sure that you know, get your animal from outside very quickly. Now I know that sounds like a really common sense sort of thing, but apparently it happens, and that's why a lot of these and basically all of these breeders that I've seen have some sort of live arrival guarantee, because they can't just guarantee live arrival. Someone might send them a photo 5 hours later and it's 2 degrees outside, and they say, hey, I got my snake, here's a photo of it, it's dead, it's freezing cold. And they'd be like, well, when did you get it? And by that point, you don't want to believe that that person's lying to you, but you don't really have any proof that they're not lying to you, because it was delivered at like 1 o'clock and they're messaging you at 6 o'clock. And so that's why it's important to know those things and read those things and have all that in your head when you get your animal, so that you can respond and sort of take the situation the right way. Now, usually it's not this big of a deal. It's usually not a big deal at all. Every single one that I've had, except for one instance, every single shipping I've had, I've gone, I check my phone, I see that it's going to be delivered in X amount of time. I go, I sit by the door, kind of watch some TV or something, hear the knock of the guy, go out there, say hi to him, grab my animal, bring the box in, do an unboxing video. Animal's perfectly fine, goes into quarantine. One time, I got the animal, knock at the door, brought it inside. It was freezing cold. It was like just super cold to the touch. It was unresponsive for a while, but I did eventually warm it up. I still wanted to let the breeder know what was going on, so I sent him a message right away. And I sent him, or I took a video, but he didn't ask for it. But it's good to have proof that, the thing was belly up and not moving. And he was very, very good. He was like, hey, if there is an issue, if it doesn't pull through, if it gets sick, just let me know and we'll work something out. And I was like, all right, cool. Ended up being completely fine. It's better for them to be too cold than too warm. So if your snake does feel cold on arrival, that's sort of a good thing, because you don't want it to be too warm. That's when they start having neurological issues and brain damage and stuff. So as long as the animal's acting fine when I get it, I don't notice any bubbles in its mouth or anything like that, and no obviously blood or sort of lumps or parts of it not moving, then I say, yep, this animal's healthy, goes into the bin. And probably most importantly, I message the sender and I say, hey, thank you so much. I got the animal. It's doing great. Because if I was sending one of my animals and I never heard anything, I would be so nervous if they never responded to me. So just try to do that. Try to message them back and let them know. And I guess another etiquette thing, let's just say you go and buy or decide to buy this guy and you're asking questions and you find out that he's only eating mice. He won't eat anything else. He's only eaten mice his whole life, whole 70-gram life that he's had. Let's just pretend that he's like 700 grams or something. And you're like, okay, I do not want to feed mice. I do not want to have to end up feeding this guy 2 or 3 mice at one time when he gets to an adult size. These guys have had trouble switching over. I don't want to mess with that. I'm just making up a situation, but something like that where you find out that this animal might not be right for you. So you, instead of just like shutting down, cold shoulder the breeder, this case Breeder Circle, tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really not interested in an animal that's only eating mice. Thank you for your time. If you don't do that, it just looks super rude. And the next time that you want to maybe buy from Breeder Circle, if I was them, I'd be really like, oh, this guy again. I wonder if he's just going to shut me down again or whatever. So just, tell them no thanks. Don't just stop talking to them, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, again, it's really not a stressful thing. It's more of a thing that you have to be diligent and you have to be aware of the breeder, of the animal, and of the time it's shipped. And once you get that animal, look it over once and put it away for like 5 to 7 days. And just don't mess with it, check on it maybe 3 days in or something, make sure it's still doing okay, but let it have some transition time. And that is how I personally pick out my animals and pick out good guys, I guess, making sure that I feel some sort of confidence and insurance in these people. And just don't be afraid to ask questions, message them, talk to them. Don't waste their time, but definitely, sort of fish around if you have any sort of apprehensive feelings, because your gut is usually right. So yeah, I hope I didn't deter you from breeding or from buying from small breeders, because they still can be fantastic, even if they don't have any reviews or something. Again, just talk to them, because they can sometimes have the most incredible stuff. They might have this animal, let's just say, for $100 less than Breeders' Circle, just because they aren't able to sell it at the same price as Breeders' Circle. So sometimes that can be very helpful. So just make sure that you check them out too, because I feel like I kind of was on the side of the bigger breeders. I'm definitely not on either side. Both have their pros and both have their cons, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I made everything clear. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I know it can be a little confusing when I was talking about looking at individuals to see, what you liked and what you didn't like, and the line breeding and whatnot. But all in all, just find one that you really like if it's going to be a pet. If you're going to breed it, if you find one that you really like, just look at what the other, let's just say the other leopards or the other gene that you're looking at look like from that collection, because chances are some of them came from the same clutch. Some of them may be influenced by what the other ones look like, is what I'm trying to say, and ask for pictures of the parents. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like and comment. Again, if you have any questions, love to hear them. You can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, or write down in the comment section. So yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day, guys, and hopefully the next time I'll be seeing you will be with our unboxing video from our 2 new arrivals from Breeders' Circle. No clue when they're getting here, though. Just depends on when Nebraska decides to be warm for a couple days. So have a great rest of your day.